All right. Episode number 87. Get Valiant 87. Man, we're coming close to 90. And then 100 is right around the corner from there.
Man, we better think of some fun stuff to do for the people who watch when we get to 100.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out, something cool.
I'll start
I don't know.
brainstorming immediately.
Yeah, there you go. We got a number of weeks left, fortunately. So
Yeah, we
nothing
got
too
about 3 months, give or take. Unless we get a week where there's no books, which are always kind of hard for us on the podcast. But if we have a week of a book for the next 12 weeks, then we'll be here in about 3 months.
Yeah, 100 will be here upon us.
Yes, indeedy.
Um, so not really a lot of news or anything this week. I mean, solicits came out, but I mean, other than that, is there really?
There's really not much to talk about. No, I mean it seems like kind of a small week. Valiant had 2 books, and then yeah, the solicitations came out. I was traveling, so I didn't get a great look at them. I just
Yeah,
barely got in like a day ago, and I kept meaning to sit down and look at the solicitations. I just never had the chance to do it today. Too much. I got to like glance at them. I
where
know
are
that.
your priorities, man?
Oh, I know, man. What the hell is wrong with me? I know that Faith Dream Song starts in September. That should be pretty fun. Um, we got 3 trade paperbacks that come out that month, but I don't have any of the information in front of me. If you don't want to talk about them, though, we don't have to.
I mean, not really a whole lot else to talk about. I'm actually, um, yeah, distracted is what I am. Um,
Why are you so distracted?
I'm trying to talk on the live the live the live chat. Talk on the live um, the live chat. Um, well, I'm trying to bring up the solicitations, but my computer is being stupid, so I don't really know what the solution is for that. It's being really dumb. Oh, here we go. Okay. Rationality is pretty impressive. So as Jason pointed out, Bloodshot is supposed to start filming in South Africa soon. Um, I remember a while back they were saying June or July, so I'm hoping sometime within the next month or so filming actually starts. Um, I would anticipate that within maybe a month after that, we'll start seeing some set photos and things like that. So maybe by like August, we'll get a glimpse of, Vin Diesel as Bloodshot. Um, I'm pretty excited for that. I think that'll be pretty sweet. Yeah, I
I
think
feel
that's gonna
bad
be
for
awesome.
any listener who's not a huge Bloodshot fan because at that point you're just going to hear so much about it from us. I'm not, and I don't. I mean, I'm sure like everybody who does anything with Valiant, you're going to hear about it everywhere. But Eric and I are such big Bloodshot fans that we're going to like talk about it so much. Every little like still or whiff of anything, any like appearance by Vin Diesel where he talks about it, like on a talk show or something like that. We're gonna go over that shit with a fine tooth.
The first official image that gets released is going to be like 20 minutes of conversation in and of
It's gonna be
itself.
its own episode. You know, when when we get like when we get to see what the logo is going to be like on the movie, that's going to be like a whole special episode just for that.
Yeah, we'll go nuts. It's going to be great. Um,
I do believe I saw something. I can't remember if it was this week or last week where they were talking about like it was on like comicbook.com or one of those sites like that where they're talking about how filming was getting ready to start like really soon. So really excited. It's going to happen. So
it's coming.
yeah. This
But
could be like a huge moment for all of us fans of Valiant, especially if it's a good movie.
yeah, it just comes down to how the movie's received. If the movie's well received, I mean, this could be a massive turning point for Valiant as a company, and for us as a fan community. Um, but you know what? Worst case scenario, even if the movie flops, we'll still have the comics,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So
like, there's a part of me that's like, it doesn't matter how it's perceived because if I like it, that's all that matters, and that's really true. I mean, like, if anybody likes it, that's all that matters when it comes to anything. But at the same time, this is that first step into the world of feature films for Valiant. So it's like, I just hope like it's good. Even if it's like not the most well received, which would stink, but like it's just like just make a good movie, man. Just make a good one where someone's like, I like that. I want to go read the books. That's what I want to see. I want to see people coming into the communities, all the various Valiant groups that we all belong to, and just being like, "Hi, I'm new here. I saw the movie. I want to learn more about all of this." That's what I want to
Yeah.
see.
My as far as I can tell, how the movie is received is only going to have the only tangible impact that's going to have on me that I can think of is that if it is well received, then we'll get more movies. And if it's not well received, the odds that we'll get any more movies in the near future are pretty much nil.
Yeah,
So I think that how this movie is received is gonna make a big difference in how the um, that type of how confidently Valiant continues to push and DMG continue to push into that market. But hopefully it's well received and hopefully things continue from there. But yeah, we can chat about the solicits if you'd like, since those did just recently come out.
yeah, let's do it,
Um,
man.
kind of run through them. So, like you said, Faith Dreamside #1 is going to start in September. And as we've talked about before, this will have Jody Hauser writing and MJ Kim doing the art. And if you have missed the previous episodes when we've talked about this, and if you're not aware, MJ Kim is the one that did that. What was it? The Easter Spectacular or whatever it was.
The Winter Wonderland special, wasn't it?
Was that what it was? Winter Wonderland? I don't know. All I know is it was like Alice in Wonderland. So just the rabbit made me think Easter.
Yeah.
But
Plans.
the art in that was good.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was just agreeing with you. I think the art's pretty good on it, and I don't know. I'm excited for more Faith. Literally
Yeah.
more excited for Faith.
The thing that's cool about it too is that we're getting Dr. Mirage here. I've not really been a big fan of the Dr. Mirage solo books, the couple that have been done during VEI. And I think that Dr. Mirage works better in, as part of a team, right? Like I think we'll get into Ninja K a little later, but I think the coalition arc going on there where we've got some Dr. Mirage, I think that's been really cool. And I think that Faith Dreamside gives us another opportunity to see her that in that context.
I thought the first Dr. Mirage series was excellent. I was a big fan of that. And the second one I thought was good, but like it wasn't great. I think the first one's great though. I mean, I thought that thing had like it was really well written. Roberto De La Torre's art on it kind of worked well with what the story was. But I mean, I guess I know like some people like it, some don't. But I'm one of the people that really likes that one a lot.
And then also the pre-order editions are not going away. There is a pre-order for Faith Dreamside.
Yay! We like those.
I've had to stop buying them because I find myself wanting the A covers, and then if I buy the pre-orders as well, then I'm double dipping, and there's no need for that.
Well, it's happened with me a little bit too, but I've been really happy with the art that they've had on the pre-order editions. I don't feel like the extra milk comes at a cost of like a bad cover, which has been nice. I like, especially with like Bloodshot Salvation. Those Ryan Bodenheim covers have been really awesome.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you there. I'm very glad that I've gotten those. Um,
But I'll
and
tell you
then
what,
the
I'll
next,
tell you where it hurts though, is Exo Manowar. I think the A covers are all Louis LaRosa, and it's just been like
sure,
shit, man. Like I've just been like
sure.
shit, man. Like some of those covers are awesome, but I'm not gonna double dip on EXO. I don't buy those variants either. I don't buy variants really right now anyway. So unless I really want something, I don't get it.
Yeah, I've been trying to steer away from the whole variant trap because it's
Are you not doing it anymore for Bloodshot?
no, I haven't been buying Bloodshot variants for a long time.
Wow.
I made a big announcement on Get Valiant back when I stopped.
I know, but I can't remember every single thing we talk about. But that's that.
How dare you forget something I've said?
Oh, God.
Oh man. So the next thing listed on the solicits is Britannia Lost Eagles of Rome #3 will be coming out. I don't even want to read the blurb about this because I just want to read this story. Peter Milligan has been, I mean, I remember when they first announced Britannia and that it was going to be Peter Milligan, and all we knew of him, Valiant related, was his Shadow Man stuff that was not very well received. I'm not really a big fan of it. So we were really curious to see, how it would go for him to come back into the Valiant universe. And Britannia has worked so well so far. I'm really excited to see what this next installment is. Even though we don't get Reap on art, Robert Gill is he's a good guy to take over.
Yeah, I'm way excited for this. I think Gill's work is going to be good on this. I really do. I wish that he could have just went back to Exo though. I think we talked about that last week, where it's like if they could just reshuffle the deck a little bit, send Reap back to Britannia, and then put Gil back on Exo Manowar. I feel like both of them would do better work on those books.
You won't hear an argument from me on that one, man. But that must be starting really soon if #3 is coming out in September, right? Like July must be #1, so that's coming quick.
Yes.
And that will be prestige format, which is cool. That's always nice when we get those books, and we'll get this Aftermath book in September. And this is another one where I don't really want to read the solicit. I don't want to read the blurbs. I really want to read the series and see how it all goes, and then we'll get to the Aftermath when it comes.
Yeah, like I feel like the blurb on this one doesn't really spoil anything. I mean, they're not giving away any information. Much like how I thought, if you look at the solicits for Livewire's upcoming book, like not the solicits because they haven't really solicited it yet, but like when they don't spoil anything with it because there's really not much they're saying about it. So I feel like that's good. We should get that about the beginning of September, though. I'm hoping because we'll be getting Harbinger Wars, I believe, the last week of every month. Hopefully, we get that Aftermath issue pretty quick, just to kind of tie up the loose ends with it.
It says September 26th, so it'll be at the end of the month.
Oh, does it really? Oh, okay. Well,
those covers look all amazing, though. The Massifera cover that looks like it's going to be the variant, the incentive variant. That one looks amazing. But my favorite one, no surprise, is that La Rosa cover. Ooh. It's a Bloodshot and Ninjak. It looks amazing.
It's gonna be really bad when Ninjak gets his ass handed to him, obviously, because
so that'll be cool. In also in September, we're getting the beginning of the new arc of Exo Manowar, like we were mentioning, Juan Jose Reap coming in on art for Exo. This arc is called Agent, and this is when Matt Kint starts expanding with his characters he created in Divinity and Eternity and bringing them into the wider Valiant universe. And what I really hope from this, it'll be interesting to see what this arc is, but what I really hope is that those other characters do start filtering into the rest of the Valiant, maybe not every portion of the rest of the Valiant universe, but at least start seeing them more, because I think that what when we've talked about Unity in the past, one of the problems with the Unity book, as fun as it was and as good as it was, one of its shortcomings was a lack of major threats. And now with all these things that have come and can come from the unknown, from Eternity, I mean, the kind of cosmic and global threats that we could start seeing, that really opens those floodgates, in my opinion.
Yeah. Is that issue 19?
It is issue 19, yes.
Do they list that as a one of like the part 1 of 4 or anything like that?
Ooh, it says part 1. I don't see of 4, of 5, or anything like that. It just says part 1, and that Juan Jose Reap is coming on board.
All right. The reason I ask is because we're getting close to that magical number that a lot of Valiant books get to sometimes when they get ended, which is 25. It seems like sales numbers have been really strong on this title. It's been like the #1 selling book, I think, every month, pretty much, except for when something new is launched, like an ongoing is launched. So Exo sells really well for a Valiant book. I hope that sales stay around the area that they're at right now, because it'll be interesting to see like if they continue past 25. it would if they didn't. I mean, it would be a weird story arc, like a 3-issue story arc. Everything seemed to be like a 3 or a 4. But I'm hoping, we get past that. I mean, I'm excited for.
Yeah,
I
it
can
would be
tell you, I'm
nice.
definitely excited for these characters to pop up in EXO, and that we can get back to like the present day as opposed to
Also,
maybe.
that issue 19 is going to be the 75th overall issue of Exo Manowar since VEI.
That's gonna be cool. Very cool.
Well, hopefully, if we get another, 25 issues, it'd be cool to see this get to the point where we get to that 100th issue of Exo. Um, because I don't think any other book has gotten there. I guess I'd be interested to see where Bloodshot would stack up.
Hard to say. I mean, Bloodshot's been more or less going continually since he's launched. I mean, he's had a break here and there for like a couple months, but
I
more or
think
less,
that
they've
Exo is the
almost
only
always had
character
they've
who's
almost
had
always had a
shorter
Bloodshot
breaks
book.
than Bloodshot.
What?
I think Exo is the only character who's had shorter breaks than Bloodshot.
Yeah.
Um, oh, Travis, in the live chat, I have been ignoring the live chat here for a bit.
Oh,
You mentioned the Red Brigade, and at least we're getting Kosti the Deathless in the Coalition, which we'll be talking about a little bit later.
yeah. I feel like there's some lost stuff going on there, with those characters because it seems like they had hinted at something in that Divinity Zero issue where one of the characters was like guarding against something, and well, we don't know. Hopefully they get back to that though. It was a really good issue, and
Um,
those characters are actually pretty interesting. I mean, again, we'll get into like at least one of them later on in this episode, but
yeah,
from what
I
we've
do
seen,
really like those
I've
characters,
been
so
pretty impressed though with what I've seen from the one.
for sure. Also, speaking of those of XO 19, well, here's kind of an answer to that question. The pre-order bundle is 4 issues, so that only goes to 22. Um,
Pretty good.
it's possible that we'll get a 23, 24, 25, and that'll be the end of the series. I'm going to guess that won't happen, but obviously I don't know. It could very well be what happens.
Yeah, I feel like it's a book that like there's not enough people talking about it, like at least talking it up. I mean, I feel like everybody's been pretty positive right now on the slew of books that we have, but I don't feel like that's a book that a lot of people are really going on the way to be like, hey, praise XO, it's such a good book, everybody should be reading this, it's a good book, it's a strong title, but like I know for me, like it's not one of my favorites right now, but at the same time, I'm very glad though that maybe we're us that are not talking about it aren't hurting the sales anywhere because it does seem like it's selling pretty good.
I know I haven't been very positive on the XO book. You've liked it more than I have. I haven't necessarily hated it by any means, but it's certainly not been near my favorite. And with books like Ninja K and Shadow Man coming out, and as much as I've loved those books so far, um, XO kind of falls by the wayside. I am interested to see what comes um, after this Barbarian arc. And actually, I really enjoyed that first issue of the Barbarian arc too. So, I mean, maybe this is a turning point for me with the series, and maybe I'll start enjoying it more. We'll kind of see as time goes on there. Um, but who knows, really?
Yeah. What do we have
Um,
next?
so the next thing coming up is Ninja K. And as Jason pointed out, the Leo Cola Pietro cover for that is amazing. It looks beautiful.
I feel like there's a huge spoiler on that book. Like when the solicitations came out for it, if you hadn't read the latest issue of Ninja K, which you probably wouldn't have, I feel like you're like, oh, something's gonna happen. Like, and then you'd just be like, wow, wonder what the lead up for that is. So who knows?
See, I don't think that that was really like a spoiler because I saw that cover before reading the most recent issue, and it didn't spoil anything for me.
But
Like I didn't really
doesn't it
feel.
show something on there that we wouldn't have known about just yet?
Yeah, but I had seen that and I read the solicits and stuff, but that didn't really ruin anything for me. I think that
I don't think I
I
had
don't
seen
know.
that cover at all until when I glanced at the solicitations and I was like, dang, like that kind of takes a little bit of the like, you know. I don't know.
It
Yeah, I
didn't
thought
do that for me, is all I'm saying. And we'll get into the issue of Ninja K that we're going to review today, which is number 8. But in number 11, they are soliciting it as Galad being involved in the series, and I'm really excited for that. As much as we kind of ragged on the Fist and Steel arc from the previous Ninjak run, I do think that Colin and Galad make an interesting pair, and I think that was actually the best part of that whole Fist and Steel arc was the two of them playing off of each other. So I'm really excited to see how Christos Gage handles that, considering how amazingly he's written the book so far.
yeah. And yeah, we do badmouth that one arc, but normally like when I look at even like nowadays when I look back at issues of Unity and like and knows how like they have like a bit of a friendship there, I like it. But yeah, that one arc. Oh, we don't ever need to talk.
Here's,
That should be like the arc that should not be named.
yeah,
They just
right. Here's the thing that actually surprises me the most, and I'm really curious about with Ninja K number 11, is Roberto Della Torre taking over on art. That is very unexpected to me, and his style doesn't strike me as a style that would lend itself to a book like Ninja K. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out.
I agree with you on that. He would work great on like Shadow Man. Like get him on Shadow Man. I always thought even though like the older Shadow Man issues that he did weren't that fun to read, they weren't great. I loved like his pencil on it. Like he can just set the mood perfectly with a dark kind of a cult like book. What they need to do. I don't know how many people would be screaming for this to happen, but like for me, it's like go find Diego Bernard. What's he doing? I haven't
Yeah,
kept up. I haven't kept up with him at all as far as like the projects that he's doing. But
dude,
he's a
his
great.
EXO was amazing.
Yeah, his EXO is great. His Ninjak Siege of King's Castle was a great looking book.
Yeah,
So go get him back. You know.
and I need to go back and read that again. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then also coming, speaking of Roberto Della Torre being good for Shadow Man number 7. And again, this is another book that we'll be talking about today. But Andy Diggle, I think, has really done a good job of grabbing hold of who Shadow Man is, what he's about, and how to write a good book for him. But I'm really excited to see what comes from this. Yeah, I think that's been a really really good book, and I just hope it continues. I just hope that I hope that this is a long term run from Andy Diggle. And considering what he said about Incursion being Shadow Man Incursion, I'm really curious to see how that plays out and where Shadow Man goes from there. And how much more we can get and how big of a deal in the universe that title becomes.
Not only that, but I'm wondering like if we're gonna see any more tie-ins for Incursion too, because if we're getting a Shadow Man one, I'm hoping we get a little bit more because I'm hoping we can get a little bit more because I kind of feel like sometimes these events, if you don't do a couple of tie-ins, then we're not gonna really see like any like hardcover collections of them. Like I don't think we're ever gonna see Rapture in a hardcover in a deluxe edition because it doesn't seem like Valiant really likes the small format too much. Unless they decide to collect it with Shadow Man, which I don't know if they would really do. It'd be kind of weird, but I would be stoked if they put like 3 more tie-ins for Incursion. I'd buy an 8 issue deluxe edition. That's just me though. Valiant does in deluxe format.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
And then the last issue that will be coming out in September is going to be Quantum and Woody 10. And this is Elliot Rahal and Joe Eisma. We've only gotten one issue so far of Elliot's Quantum and Woody, which was amazing.
great issue,
And
super good.
yeah, phenomenal issue. So I'm really excited to see how that run continues with Elliot at the helm. And as much I really love Joe Eisman's work when he was doing Faith. So I'm really excited to see him work with Quantum and Woody because I think that could be really cool.
Oh yeah, totally glad that like Eisman's still around at Valiant. So that should be fun. But again, like if I know like Quantum Woody tends to be like the book that's hard for some people to get into. It's a little too funny. But I mean, if you haven't read it, go read issue 6. It was a great Quantum and Woody issue. I've read a lot of Quantum and Woody lately too, so I feel like I know what I'm talking about on that. Just blew through like the second deluxe edition. Um, But yeah, that first issue is good. I'm way excited for the next issue of that to see where it all kind of goes with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like you had mentioned before, there are going to be 3 trades for the Ninjak versus trade.
Me
Um,
too.
that story was awesome, and I think it's going to be cool. I'd probably buy that trade.
I'll probably buy that. I'll actually probably buy Valiant High, to be honest with you. But only when I'm only buying that one if I can find like a good price line, because I just don't want to like pay the full cover price on that one. So that's gonna be like a in stock trades order for that issue for that one. But yeah, you know what? Like I can tell you honestly, I didn't really care at the beginning of Ninjak Versus because I was so bummed that we didn't know when the show was going to actually show up. And
Yeah,
then once I got to see it, and once I even heard that it was going to get released, I changed my tune on it pretty quick, you know, and I didn't let my bad attitude get enjoying the book. It's very fun. It's a different take. You know, it's not the same universe that I think we're used to, but it's way fun. Like I thought the series was way fun too.
yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
I always said that the best way that they should have collected this would have been like in something that would have given you like a DVD or a Blu-ray of the show. I still think that would be like the best thing, you know. I wish that could happen, but I know like contractually there's things that are going on with like comicbook.com or comic book whatever the site is, and you know everything on there is just exclusive to them. But I hope one day, even though like there's access to it, like shit, man, I feel like after everything was said and done, like 10 different people were like, hey, I've got links if you want to download it. But
Yeah,
I would love to see some of like behind the scenes, like video footage, things like that, or a commentary track. Because I like commentary tracks on movies. I do watch them that way sometimes. You know, just a lot of extra stuff. It's just a really enjoyable series. So at the very least, I'll be buying the trade.
yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, I think that oh no, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to
What?
count exactly how many titles that actually is.
It's six
Um,
books, isn't it?
is it 6? I don't know. My computer's being really slow, so I can't even count it quickly because I'm smart and I closed the window before I counted. So
We'll do 15 and we'll be happy with it.
yeah, it is, and that so nobody will be happy. Um, no, I'm trying to. I'm here. Give me a minute here. So we got Quantum and Woody. We got Shadow Man. We got Ninja K. We got Exo Manowar. Uh, come on now. Come on now.
Faith.
Harbinger Wars 2 Aftermath.
Two.
Britannia
Yeah.
and Faith. So that's 7 books if you include that Harbinger Wars Aftermath. 7 books in September, which is
See that?
better than 5 or 6. But no,
But it's not
I think that
bad. It's not like a bad book. You know, I think the best thing about what the lineup is right now is that if you look at it, it's like we got XM Man of War, we got Ninjak, Harbinger Wars has got like all the major players. Faith. I feel like we just have a lot of the player, like the big guns of the Valiant universe, like in books. You know, it'd be better to have a couple more, just a couple more. But you know, seems like everything's good. I still am hoping that when like sometime soon, within at the hopefully by the end of next year, we get something another ongoing attempt for Archer and Armstrong. I really do hope that happens, but we'll just see.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people are wanting a Galad ongoing as well, you know, but that the 2 times that just hasn't been all that well received. I thought Wrath of the Eternal Warrior was really good. It just wasn't huge. But we do have 2 books to review, so we probably could get into those.
Yes, we do,
Um,
and as you guys know, because you're not new to this, we do talk spoilers on these books. So if you have not had a chance to even get a chance to even read these books, go ahead, hit pause or turn off or do whatever you do when you're not listening to a podcast and go read your issues and then come back and join us, you know. But for that said, we're going to plow right through and discuss these books.
so I did go pick up my copies. So something that I've been really curious about how they were going to handle is, they've talked a lot about how we're going to see previous Shadow Men. Um, and I was really curious, like I said, about how that was going to be handled. And this is the first issue kind of pushing us into that. And I thought it was done really well. I thought it was really interesting with Jack kind of seeing through his ancestors' eyes. And I also thought it was cool to have an anti-Nazi book. I'm down with fighting Nazis.
Yep. Yep. Um, I thought this was a great issue. In a way, it's almost like a one and done issue. I mean, we're still kind of feeling the effects of like the previous issues, and obviously like Jack's spirit still has somewhere to go. But I thought this was really cool. And at the beginning of it, like I don't know if you ever read a book and you think about what a character would sound like, but I thought like at the beginning segment of Shadow Man dealing with the Nazi who shoots himself, I thought if you kind of thought about like Shadowman's dialogue in the like tone of like 1920 gangsters, like wise guy, eh? Well, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah. I thought his dialogue worked perfectly like in that kind of like reference. But yeah, this was an awesome issue. So for those who if you haven't read it and you're listening anyway, um, Jack falls into Max Boniface's body and confront a Nazi on the bridge, and the Nazi won't talk. He's not going to squeal to no coppers, so he plugs himself. And then I thought there's some cool moments in the middle of this, like like, a lot of things that we talk about have been like those chill moments between the action, like especially like Venditti books. Like Venditti's always so great, like on those like human moments. And I thought the scene where Max Boniface is in his like apartment and he's playing the sax, and then Franklin shows up and gives him his scythe. I thought that was just like a great moment, Like to me, I really dig it. And then the whole thing with like the American Nazis, or maybe I don't know if they were like European ones or American ones, but they show up. They've got a device that's kind of warping the minds of people.
well, they were
Not
speaking German,
Yeah,
so
yeah, but it wasn't a very supernatural issue like you might expect for like a Shadowman story. It was more like just like a straight like almost like a weird throwback to like the Golden Age, and it totally worked. It was just like a superhero story, which we don't, Shadowman's not really that. He kind of is, but it was a really fun story. I thought this was really good. It was handled really well, and yeah, like you were saying, like how we were going to get these past versions. If we get them like this, that's awesome.
yeah, if he keeps falling through time, kind of the way that he is, falling through his heritage almost, I think that'll work really well. I think that's a cool concept and an interesting way, kind of, to make it story relevant and still give us that chance to kind of go back and do these fun one and done issues. Because I think you could pick this up, and even though there's a little bit of wider context with Jack being involved and falling through his ancestry, beyond that, I mean, this really is just a one shot fun issue about Shadow Man in the 1940s, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and the art on this, I think his name was like Sean Martinborough. Is that correct? I thought he
Sean
did.
Martin, bro, yeah.
Yeah, I thought this book looked really good. It had a really great style to it. It kind of reminded me of what's his name, Greg Smallwood a little bit, but I thought that it was just a really clean, like crisp style. Hopefully he does more work too on the book. I mean, I've been happy with Segovia, so I got no complaints. But
I've been happy with Segovia. I'll be honest, I wasn't really as much of a fan of the art on this book. I actually thought it was lacking in some cleanliness and some sharpness. I think that the style fits this issue, and it probably would fit the rest of this, going back through time. But I wouldn't want to see him be the regular artist on this book, if that makes
I
sense.
wouldn't. I wouldn't either, just because of who else they have, around.
Right.
I mean, like I think Segovia's been awesome on this, but I think for like these kind of stories, like I thought the art really fit the tone of the book.
Yeah, I can't disagree there. I think that there are other artists that would make me enjoy it more. Um, but uh, see, this is something. Okay, so Jason just said that he didn't like this issue because it was too political. I didn't see this as being a political issue unless, like, you think that there's politics involved in whether or not Nazis are bad. Like, if you think that
I,
that's a
I wouldn't see.
political
I
statement,
wouldn't have seen this as. I wouldn't have thought this was like necessarily like a political issue.
it's
I
not.
mean, Yeah, I mean, like, I think that like the times are a little hard right now, you know. But at the same time, like to me, it's just like that was the how America was in the 40s, man. Like, you know,
Well,
there
and
was
I'm just saying whether or not whether you're Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, whatever, I don't think that the idea that Nazis are bad guys is a political concept
nope,
or
they're always
political
the bad guy.
position.
That's the thing. You just need to know is that they're always the bad guy. But I also think that you can use them. It's not always political. Like I read a lot of I read a lot of war comics. Now, war in itself is political, but I don't necessarily think that every war story I read is just entrenched in like politics. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's rough. I get what Jason's saying because I think that a lot of times you just see the word thrown around, but like these were like literal Nazis. Like this was like people with swastikas. Like they're the bad guys. They're doing nefarious schemes to try to
They're trying
undermine.
to,
So I
yeah,
mean,
they're
to
trying
me,
to
it's like
undermine American democracy in this
yeah.
book.
So like to me, like that's the way to use them. You know, it's not like oh, Shadow Man got in a disagreement with someone, and because he didn't like what they said, he called them a Nazi. It wasn't that. It was just like they're fucking Nazis. They're the real fucking bad guys. So I don't know. I mean, I respect the opinion. I totally do. But I don't know. I mean, I just didn't get that out of the reading of it, you know. And and not only that, but I don't think that there was anything necessarily heavy-handed like being thrown down, unless like I don't know, like Nazis. I don't know. Fuck. I just didn't think there was like some big heavy moral to it at the end, like how a lot of like political comics might be where it's like, and at the end, by the way, you know, don't do this or that because that makes you just bad. Like, I don't think anything like that happened with this.
Yeah, well, and if the end of the issue was, and remember, vote Democrat in November, like,
Faith Five is a political book, okay? Like, you know,
but it's not even. I would even argue that like there are like there's a politician in the book, but it's not like it doesn't take a political stance.
no, that part is that is true, but I also think though it is political because like it's a whole story around like a politician and something happening to a politician, and there's little bits of like nuance where it's like I don't know who I'm gonna vote for, but I've got an idea which way I'm gonna go. Like, come on, Faith, we know. Like you're on the you know
Yeah.
Hillary's on the cover, a presidential candidate right before the election. It's a bit political, but I wouldn't put this book in that same. I mean, as much as I think that book is political, I don't think this book is that. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way, I really did enjoy this book. I'm really looking forward to what's coming next. I wasn't as big of a fan of the art. I think that could have been better. So for me, um, I'm going to come in at 4 out of 5 on this book. The writing's really, really strong. The art dragged it down a little bit for me, but I thought that the concept, the approach, and the execution were all really, really interesting. And this, because this book almost reads like a one shot, it just made it really fun. Like it was so much fun to read.
Oh man, I'm gonna go a bit higher on this. You know, like I'm actually debating between like 4.25 and a 4.5. I mean, I just really liked it a lot. I love the fact that it's just like, even though it does kind of continue an overall story, I think someone could pick this up and get a general understanding of like the mythos of Shadow Man a bit. Not necessarily
Sure.
like the dead side thing, but just like you might understand like the kind of the mindset of Jack Boniface and his new ancestor Max that I don't think we've ever seen in the VEI run. Um, and I'd have to go back and see like if they ever touched on any of that stuff in the old stuff. I don't believe they did. I can't remember though. But I thought it was it was a great issue, fun story, not too political. God damn it, Jason, not too political.
Now I'm gonna die. Look what you've
Man, you
done.
sound like you just like inhaled the dank weed or something, dude. Shit,
Oh, that would be a better excuse for coughing like this.
it's just that Minnesota air.
No, I've just been sick for a couple of weeks.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it blows. Um, so the next one that we can talk about, Ninja K number 8, also got the A come.
I feel
Um,
like there's a lot to say about this book. There's a lot to like about this book. Um,
Jason says no dying on a live cast. I'll do my best. Actually, really bummed that because I'm pretty sure there's only one more issue left of this, isn't there?
6 was the start of it, but it seemed. But here's the thing. Okay, so now that we're talking about this book, it sounds like there's going to be things that there's like a fallout from this that's going to be happening at least in issue 11. So it might not necessarily end the overall story of what's going on. Like at the very least, we're going to have elements from this issue that are going to play out in that issue. So, like Galad is obviously going to be playing a part in it.
Um,
Okay, so for
so
me, reading this issue, I was totally blown away by that little thing where like, Eternal Warrior's bones are there. He doesn't want to come back, but they've got a dead side entity that's going to make it happen. Like all that, I was just like, what are you talking about? How cool is that? That's just me. I loved it. But even
yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. And that was just the very end of the issue. The
yeah,
whole everything before that was super awesome. Like all the action, the fighting, so much cool stuff going on in this title, in this book, this
yeah.
issue.
I thought everything got fleshed out in just the right way. I think sometimes people would be like, "Oh, a bunch of people have to bail out of a ship. It's going to happen fast." I love the fact that Chris Gage's script calls for like some moments where like Ninjak and Livewire they escape together, and how she kind of takes control of like his glider just to kind of get them out of there. They still get caught by the low at the very end of it, but I just thought like reading it, I was like, this is one of those things that I think it would get skipped over. It wouldn't be much of a story, it wouldn't lend much to the story. But I thought it was just a great bit, and it didn't take away from any of the fighting in the issue. Like the whole rest of the issue is just like a big battle because once everybody gets to ground, there's all of the bad guys, all these immortal or undying or unkillable bad guys just waiting for them. And it was a lot of Coasty, the Deathless, finally seeing her kind of do some more action. I just thought it was great. And speaking of Dr. Mirage, who we talked about a little bit earlier when we talked about the Faith
Yeah.
uh, issue, if that's how her and her husband work, like if he's out doing reconnaissance for her on
Yeah.
like missions, how fucking cool is that? Like I
That
thought
was
this
so
was
fucking cool.
such a great use of that, where he's like the spiritual spy for her, like when they're doing something. I thought that was great. So for me, like this was just an incredible issue, and it looked beautiful. Juan Jose Reed does just another great looking issue, and this hasn't
Dude,
been a series full of like the bloody moments that we're used to with his art, but I think it still works. Like I mean, like even without like the blood and slop that he can do, um, he's able to tell a great story art wise.
dude, Ultimo, I thought was so fucking awesome when he came back and was like, fucking Godzilla size.
Yeah,
That was so fucking cool. Um, um, and then just the dialogue in this book is so good. Like all of Ninjak's interactions with Livewire are amazing. Punk Mambo is written so well. I thought that the scenes toward the end with the Jonin and the Dying One, when they're talking about uh, bringing Galad back and all that going on. Like, I just thought the way that this all was laid out, the dialogue, the action, even just the page layouts, how they're kind of sharp and, panels are cutting into each other and stuff. Just, I, I don't know that there's a better book out there right now. And especially, I don't know that there's a better, like, superhero book out there.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, that's a good like thought to have, because I'm trying to think of like all the books I buy that I like. Like I try to only buy books that I like. Sometimes you buy an issue and you're like, oh, I just don't like where this is going. And I'm trying to think if there's anything I like as much as I like this book. And I know that I'm a bit of a Valiant homer. That doesn't come off as any surprise. I think if you listen to this episode, you know that I love everything Valiant does. But um, like I'm thinking like Black Hammer or even Avengers. Like I thought last like No Surrender and even right now what Jason Aaron's doing have been really awesome. But I don't think there's anything that I enjoy as much as this either. Like I really don't. I mean, this is probably the best book I read. I know that I've been quite disappointed with Batman lately, but and the Flash too, for that matter. So I just thought it's cool that like not only have all these like pieces moving around. I think Chris Gage like he can just do like these books where there's a lot of moving pieces. He can do the dialogue. Not everybody sounds the same. It works, and I like the fact that like Bloodshot or not, sorry, not Bloodshot, but Ninjak, he's getting like messed up, like pretty bad. Like the dying one has got a lot of skill. We don't really see it in the Labyrinth storyline from Wrath. But I mean, obviously, a person that's been around for a long time should have some sort of skill with a weapon. Maybe not on par with like Galad, but all those years of centuries of life have got to lead to something as far as like being able to like be a skilled combatant. So I was glad that it wasn't just one of those things where she got dispatched really quick, even though the dying one switches from body to body. So really good stuff. I'm way excited. I mean, I can't even remember last time I was this excited for like another issue of a book.
Yeah,
Like
I can't wait to see what comes next. Here's a question for you. Talking about this being one of the best books out there. Jason said it's second only to Saga, and I haven't started Saga yet. Have you read any Saga?
I've read a lot of Saga, but I'm not into Saga that much. Um, it's like the one book my wife reads Saga, and she really likes it a lot. And I know that people who read it love it. I just don't read it. Um, trying to
Yeah,
think.
I haven't started it. I haven't read any of it. I've seen the covers that are beautiful, but I haven't read any of it.
Yeah,
It just seems like fantasy and mythology type stuff to me, and that just doesn't interest
it's
me.
like God. I mean, it's not even like any of that. I mean, like it's like fantasy and space and sci-fi, but a lot of like romance to it too. Oddly enough, it's got like a lot of like sweet moments. It's got a lot of like shocking moments though, where you're just like, what the like? Okay, there's an alien robot's vagina. Like, okay, cool. It's like it's definitely a book that's got a lot of like dirty stuff in it. Like Brian K. Vaughan doesn't hold anything back. But it's a good book, I mean, I feel like the accolades it receives are deserved. But enough about that shit. Okay.
Well,
Um
so for Ninja K number 8 for me, like this is absolutely the strongest book from Valiant, and I think that this issue of Shadow Man solidifies that title as the second strongest book Valiant is doing right now. So I mean, like this is an amazing week, as far as like the heavy hitters from Valiant, as far as I'm concerned. Um, and but to me, this issue of Ninja K, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm going to end up at like a 4.75. I don't have any specific reason that I'm not going to give it a 5. I just don't want to like overscore it. Um, but it's so good. It's just so good.
I feel like I overscore everything. I don't know, man. It's hard because I was just like, I love the last issue. I thought the last issue was so awesome. I think I gave the last issue a 5. I think I've given a lot of issues of Ninja K a 5 because I've
It's
liked them
hard
that
not
much.
to.
It's become like Bloodshot Reborn. How like
Yeah.
I thought every Bloodshot Reborn issue was so good, and I think this is a book definitely like more people should be reading. And I don't know, man. I would go a 5 almost. I'd go 4.75, but I'm just trying to think of something I didn't that just bothered me about it, and there really wasn't anything.
Yeah, there's really nothing. There's nothing that I can think of.
I
I
don't
mean,
want to
I
be
just
like I don't want to be that homerish because I know that like a critique of me is I like everything. I score everything pretty high, which I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel that way. But I'm gonna go 5. Fuck it, man. Anyone got a problem, they can say something. But I mean, this is just a great issue. I think that like I would say right now, I like the 8 issues of this book that I've read more than any 8 issues of Ninjak I've ever read. I think that's how strong I think this entire series is. I think Chris Gage brought an A game this title.
I
And
honestly really liked Matt Kint's Ninjak run. I think that that's a really, really well done story, especially the way that he was able to kind of keep it all tied into itself throughout that entire run. But there's something that Christos Gage has tapped into with this title that it just transcends a lot of what other superhero comics are doing. I think he's doing such a good job of not only giving Ninjak a voice and staying consistent to that, but giving every character that crosses the page a unique and strong voice. And I mean, just like I said before, the dialogue is so strong, and I think that the artists on this book have been so great so far. And Juan Jose Reed, like you were saying before, this isn't his normal like blood everywhere, gore all over the place kind of stuff that we see from him. And I love when he does that stuff, like his couple of issues in Wrath of the Eternal Warrior. But this is really good. Like the whole issue looks so great. The two-page spread when the teams are going at each other, that was so fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's weird too because like I think I've said before, there's been a lot of books I've read by Chris Gage that I haven't really thought were like that great. And I know that when it was announced that he was coming on, I was just kind of like, oh man, like I'm kind of worried. And at the same time, like I think about like Matt Kent, like how much I like Matt Kent's work. And it's weird to me that like I don't really like XO that much. I can't believe how good Ninja K is.
Yeah.
It's weird, but like yeah, I think like this book has just been fire. I mean, it's been so good. It's just been, like it sucks, and it's become the book though that every month I'm just like I want the next issue like right now. I like it that much. I like everything going on with it. He's got such a great voice for Ninjak, and I feel like the stakes are high every issue without just being like, well, the bad guy won or the good guy won really easy. Like
Right.
I feel like I thought it was really creative how like the first arc ended, with like the plane hitting Ninja D, and yet we don't see his body, and there's a lot of shit going on. I just thought everything just kind of worked out right. So
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's a good note of ambiguity, instead of everything just being good guys versus bad guys. Good guys win, and the bad guys, have to go lick their wounds. There's a little bit more to it than that. Ninja D was the bad guy in that first arc, but really he was kind of justified in what he was trying to do.
oh yeah.
Jack just didn't quite agree with his methods, but the way that I thought that the way that that worked out was really good, and that's something that I think that has been good about Valiant as a whole, and I think Dice Art did that better than anybody, past or present. Was capturing that moral ambiguity, but I think that this book has held on to that too. It's kind of like there's some of the motives of the coalition in this are reasonable. Like you understand where they're coming from. It's just the way they try to approach it and the lengths to which they're willing to go. You can't really agree with, and that's why they have to be stopped. And I think that that's just a really good way to write a book and to keep it interesting and to make it matter. And as far as and the other thing too that, and this is a Valiant thing in general, is that there are stakes for the characters. Things happen, they change. The status quo can be upended and pushed in a new direction. And that's another reason why I'm excited to see where Harbinger Wars 2 goes, um, because we don't know what the fallout's going to be from that and how it's going to impact the rest of the books in the line.
One thing that you said reminded me of something I wanted to say last week when we were talking about Bloodshot Salvation and how Omen can kind of meddle with the affairs of Gate, and Gate's just like, we can't do it. They've got jurisdiction. It's their nanites. They're going to come get them, right? One
Yeah,
thing that this has been on my mind like all week, even when I was on my vacation. It was just this thought that like I really like the fact that Valiant's got groups like Omen and Gate and MI6. They've all got certain levels of like government clearance. Okay, if this was Marvel, it would just be Shield, and Shield is such an annoying entity in the Marvel universe now because Shield is such a big deal. They just encompass everything. I mean, every superhero might as well just work for them now. The way it's almost structured. That I was thinking about this. I was like, I'm just glad that like that's not how any one group within Valiant is. Like MI6 doesn't just like run the world. Gate doesn't just run the world. Omen wishes they did. You know, if anything, it's maybe Harada, like because he's so deep and powerful. But having all these different factions, I'm just glad that Valiant hasn't like overkilled one of them and made them just like top dog over everything else.
sure.
I don't know. It doesn't really pertain much to this issue, but it's just one of those things that's been kind of on my mind where I was like, God, I wanted to say something about it last week and I didn't really get a chance to, but I just had to say it before I ever just forgot about it for good.
Sure. So, coming up next week, we're actually going to get 3 issues, which I think is pretty cool.
Uno, dos,
Um,
tres.
so we'll be getting Harbinger Wars 2 number 2.
Very
Um,
excited.
yeah, going to really be interesting to see where that goes. We'll be
Doesn't it
getting
feel like
Quantum
we
and
read
Woody
that
number 7.
first issue forever ago? I
Yeah,
feel like it's been like
seems like it's been a
months.
long time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Quantum and Woody number 7. We're going to continue with Elliot Rahal's run with Quantum and Woody.
Good.
6 was such a great issue that yeah, I'm really excited to see where he goes. And then Exo Manowar number 16. Like I said, I felt like issue 15 was probably my favorite issue of this Exo Manowar run so far. So I'm actually pretty stoked to see where where this arc goes and then where the book goes after this arc is over.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for those. I'm really excited for Harbinger Wars 2, number 2, just because like I joke around about it, but like I think they gave us like the preview copy of that for just so long ago. And it's like we talked about it. It just feels like it's been months. It probably has been months though since they let's read it the first time. So I'm glad to see. I want to see like what happens. I want to see some action. Um, I think there's a lot of build up to this, and I think about like the previous one. Like I thought the previous one's awesome. So just I hope there's a lot of good stuff to it. I hope that not any. I hope that like the main players, like no one's necessarily like the bad guy, unless it's like hardcore. They can be the bad guys of it. I don't really give a shit. But like, I don't want it to be like Livewire's a villain. I don't want EXO to be the villain or Bloodshot or Nin. It just doesn't work to me like that. If any of them are, because they've all got so much in common, except for maybe like Bloodshot. Bloodshot doesn't necessarily fit them like all those other characters. But we'll just see how it goes.
Well, yeah, I like. Well, this is what we were just talking about, the moral ambiguity, and I think that you understand where Livewire is coming from, and you understand where EXO and Ninjak are coming from, and they can't see eye to eye right now, and they're going to butt heads for it. And Livewire, what Heiser has done with her is he's elevated her character so much, and I think that the way that she's acting and her abilities, the way she's using her abilities in Ninja K number 8, we owe to what Heiserer did to elevate her as a character. And I think that seeing more of that, seeing her become more of a central part of the Valiant universe is really exciting because I love her as a character so much. And the fact that after Harbinger Wars 2 is over, we're actually going to get a Livewire solo title. It was awesome when she was leading a book with Secret Weapons, but now that we're actually going to have a book on the stands called Livewire, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. And one last thought about Harbinger is I hope this doesn't end up being like Civil War, basically. I feel like Civil War was like a moot point. And I feel like everything that happens in the Valiant universe matters. I think everything matters, even down to like some of the more like earlier storylines, that even if they're just like a resolve, 2 or 3 issues in, I felt like Civil War like is okay and all, but I don't want that to be what this is. We're like, who are the heroes and who are the villains? But I don't know. Again, next week will be awesome. 3 great books.
Yeah.
Excited to read them. Especially excited for Quantum and Woody also. I want to throw that one out there. I'm not that excited for EXO. I'm not going to lie. So I hope it's a good
I'm really curious about EXO, but really it's the other two. It's going to be interesting to see how that week shapes up.
If it's good, I'll say it's good. But I hope it's better than that last issue. I really do. It's not that last issue. I don't care. Or issues set in the past is not the most exciting thing to me.
I feel like you're probably not going to care about the whole arc then, and I was ready not to care about the whole arc, but it sucked me in, and I'm liking it. So we'll see how it goes.
I'll try to come in with a better attitude toward it.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a really strong week. I mean, I think that you'd be hard pressed to have any publisher put out only 2 comics on a Wednesday and have them be this strong. And yeah, I mean, yes, Valiant line is small, but it's so good.
Yeah. But next week could be that week too, just because 3 books, 3 potential great books. 2, but we'll see.
Well, with all these books that have been really good, events coming, events happening right now, movie news coming, and this isn't something. It's something I used to say a lot, and I haven't said in a while. But it's a good time to be a Valiant fan right now.
That's because you haven't thought that for so long. No, just kidding. Yes.
No, but here's the thing, though, man. Like, I'm not going to say that if I don't feel it, right? Like, I'm
Oh,
not going to be.
I definitely agree. I think
So,
it's an exciting time. Just and the one thing I would say for anyone, because and this is like a movie thing, so I would just say if there's any books that you're like, I really need to get something, I'd buy them now, just because you don't know what can happen. And this community is so small. Someone out there could buy 15 copies or every copy of something off eBay. Buy the stuff before it gets hot. Don't wait for like some app or some website. Don't wait for Eric or I to be like, buy this book. Just buy it. Get it before it's too expensive.
yeah.
Because I can tell you what, I mean, just from my experience right now, like I follow a lot of the stuff that the Key Collector app has been doing. I think the guy's doing some great work. I think his name's Nick. And I've noticed books that he'll talk about. He'll be like, hey, by the way, this book, you should show up and go get it. And then if you look on eBay like 10 minutes later, everything has sold out and the book's going for like 20, 30 bucks. So the pressings of the stuff that Valiant has right now, they're small. If there's a variant you think you need to get it before it's too expensive, before people who don't even follow this stuff buy it up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, exciting stuff coming.
Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody who's listening and watching and enjoying this with us. Um, and hopefully next week will be just as good. And hopefully we'll have some more awesome news coming soon,
Yep.
especially with the whole movie thing. But thanks again, everybody. We're going to sign off. I'm Eric Baumgard.
I'm Josh Rathbun.
And I hope you all have a great week. Stay valiant, motherfuckers.